Okay. So we know how to reduce square roots with numbers. That's what we've been working on the past couple days. When we do variables, it works the same way. If you have a multiple of 2, then to bring it out of the square root, you're actually just dividing your power by 2. Okay, an example, the way I think about it is if I give you the square root of a to the 8. Okay, if I want to reduce that, if you have 8 socks, how many pairs of socks can you make? 4. So it's an a to the 4. The square root is like saying how many pairs can we make? So if we had 8 under the radical, it turns into 4 pairs when we bring it out. If it's not a multiple of 2, in other words, if it's an odd number, then we have to break it up. We're going to separate it. So I think this is a little confusing the way it's written. If I said the square root of a to the 9th, okay, we could think of that as my 8 pairs and then 1 more, right? 8 plus 1 is 9. So if you have the square root of 8, if you have 8 pairs of socks, or 8 socks, we can make 4 pairs. But if you have 1 sock left, can you make a pair with that? No, so that one just stays under the radical. So if you have an odd power, one of them is going to stay underneath. You have an odd number of socks. You can't make a complete pair with that. It's left over.
All right, can we do it now?
So now we're doing this and the numbers combined. So we're not going to do all these examples. I'm going to jump around a little bit. I'm going to do the right hand side, I think. All right. If I say the square root of m to the 6, if you have 6 socks, how many pairs of socks can you form? 3. And the radical's gone because we put them in pairs. All right, the square root of 64p to the 4th. So we're doing all of this together. The square root of 64 is 8. If you have 4 socks, how many pairs can you make? 2.
So do we have to put the square root sign?
If you do the square root, if you put them into pairs, it's gone. You only leave the square root if we didn't have
It's like all
enough.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, number 6. What is the square root of 49?
I'm going to guess 5.
This is like
Okay.
a guess.
A squared. So if I have 2 socks, how many
1.
pairs?
1.
1. So an a to the first. You can write the power of 1 or you can just write an a. If you have 6 b's, how many pairs can we make?
3.
So b to the third and c to the second. All right. Let's look at number 8. So if we have 2 a's, how many pairs can we make? So an a comes out. All right, but then I get to my b's. What do you notice about that? It's an odd. Okay, if you have 3 socks, how many pairs can you make? You put 2 of them together to make 1 pair, but then there's 1 sock left over, right? So the 1 pair comes out, but because there's a leftover, that one stays under the square root. So, if I say, what is the square root of 144?
Square root.
If I have 3 k's,
K square root K.
okay, we can make 1 pair. So do I write it as a k squared when it comes out? No, it's just a k, and there's 1 left over. All right, Do you guys understand why this is not a k squared out here?
Mhm.
Alright. Number 12, can we do the square root of 196?
14.
Okay. If I have 5 c's, how many groups of 2 can we make?
2.
So 2 come out. Are there any leftovers?
There's one.
There's 1 left over, so it's still in the radical. Okay, if I have 2 d's, how many groups of 2 can I make?
1.
1. Are there any leftovers?
No.
No. So it's 14c squared d, and then a square root of c left on the end.
Starting to look at my grades, I wanna know.
Why don't you guys, before I go to the next page, I want you to try a couple. So I want you to do 7, 9, and 11. So if I went the square root of 5, y to the 5th, that's like saying you have 5 socks. How many groups of 2 can come out? 2 groups of 2. And how many are left over? So 1y is still underneath. Alright, number 9, the square root of x squared would be?
1.
And that's the first. If you have y to the 3rd, 1 set comes out, and there is 1 left under our radical. And then we had 4 z's, so that means 2 pairs come out.
Yeah.
Number 11, what is the square root of 81?
9.
Okay, if you have 7 r's, how many groups of 2 can we make?
3.
3. How many are left?
1.
If you have 4 s's, how many groups of 2?
2.
Any left?
No.
When do you end up with something left under the radical?
If there is an odd number.
If it's an odd power under a radical. Okay, if it's an odd power to begin with, something will be left over. If it's an even power, it will not. Alright, let's continue this, but we're going to do some where maybe the numbers aren't perfect squares. Alright, so we were doing these numbers yesterday. 50 is not a perfect square. So we have to rewrite it. Remember our list of perfect squares? 1 squared is 1, 2 squared, 3 squared,
9,
4 squared,
16,
5 squared.
25,
She just said
36, 49, 64, 81.
You are not the right.
Okay. Do any of those? Oh, I left off one, didn't I?
Oh my gosh, he was actually wrong. 64.
81.
Thank
Look
you.
at me, I'm so smart, I memorized
All right.
all of them.
Any of those go into 50?
25.
Yep.
Twice.
So, good. We think of the 50 as a 25 times 2. Okay? So the square root of 25 is 5. We cannot do the square root of 2, so we still have that. Now let's talk about our variables. If we have 2 x's, how many pairs can we make?
1.
1. When you make a pair, it comes out, and are there any leftovers?
No.
Nope. So that's it. Alright, 45 into the 11th. First of all, let me ask a question. Are we going to have any variables left under our radical?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's odd.
Yeah, it's an odd power, so we know we're going to end up with a variable under the radical still. Okay, 45, let's talk about it. How do we break that up?
5.
Okay, square root of 9 is 3. We can't do the square root of 5. Now let's talk about the variables. If you have 11 socks, how many pairs do we make?
5.
So 5 come out and 1 left over. Is this making sense?
Yes.
This makes all the sense in the world.
Try a few more.
180.
So 180.
80. I would have said 81.
We need something that would divide 36. 36 and
Five.
5. Okay.
Be quiet.
So the square root of 36 is,
6.
and we can't do the square root of 5. So now we talk about the variables. If I have 3 x's, how many groups of 2?
1.
How many leftovers?
1.
Do we ever have more than one leftover in here? No. If we have 2 of them, we can make another pair of socks, right? Alright, if I have 8 y's, that means 4 come out, no leftovers. Alright, why don't you guys take a couple minutes and see if you can do the next. Just take a few minutes and work, see how many you can get done. See if you can try this. You may not have gotten done, that's okay. On number 20, will we have any variables left? Yes, how do we know that? Odd powers will be left underneath. Okay, 108, what did you break that up? What did you say? Okay. So, 2 options. 12 times 9 works, and 36 times 3 works. If we did this, square root of 9 is 3, but can't 12 be broken down some more?
Yep, and 6.
Yeah, 12 is 4
That's
times
more
3. It's more, right?
Yes.
So square root of 4 is 2 times our 3 gives us the same thing. So you get a 6 and a 3. Or you could have broke it into the 36 and the 3 to begin with. So even if you don't get the biggest one to start with, you'll get there. If we have 18 R's, how many groups of 2? 9. If we have 13 S's, how many groups of 2?
6.
And how many left over?
Whoa.
Alright, so we have 6 R to the 9th, S to the 6th, and the square root of 3s. Alright, 63, what'd you break it into?
9.
So square root of 9 is 3, and we still have a square root of 7. If we have 5 x's, how many groups of 2? How many leftovers?
1.
If we have 25 y's, how many groups of 2?
12.
And 1 leftover. 14 z's, so we can make
7.
7 groups of 2 and none left over. Sorry, that was kind of sloppy. That's a z to the 7. You can't tell that. 24 was kind of hard because that's a really big number. Did anyone find it?
49.
49 and 8. Okay. Square root of 49 is,
7.
can you break down the square root of 8?
4.
What is the square root of 4?
2.
So we get 7 times 2 is a 14 square root of 2. Alright, we didn't even make our list going up that high. You know, we didn't just list all the perfect squares here. It keeps going. This was just a bigger one, but we got there. If you have 2 A's, how many groups of 2?
1.
2 B's, so we can have 1 group of 2. 3 C's.
1 with 1 left.
Do we need more practice with this? So you guys know what we're doing here?
Yep.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.